Hi, I'm Brent Phillips. Welcome to day one of our special event series on high-tech healing. We're going to start with a big old welcome to the future. Here we are. So I'm going to talk to you over the next few days about the most important and most powerful high-tech healing devices I found. Because if you know my story, you know I spent the better part of a couple decades on a quest to find the most powerful kinds of healing available anywhere. Admittedly, the first part of this journey was primarily to heal myself. If you hadn't heard already, in the mid-90s I suffered from a devastating combination of injuries, repetitive stress injuries, chronic illness, environmental poisoning that led me to years of suffering. I had a pretty high level of chronic pain. The best conventional doctors officially gave up on me in 1998. That was when a very well-known and highly respected orthopedist, who also tends to work with a lot of professional athletes and Olympians, told me that there was no chance I'd ever be able to work again, or that I'd ever be without pain. In fact, the last thing he said to me before I left his office was, "Brent, I hope that someone that can take care of you until you die." And at the time, I was just 27 years old. Fortunately, I never gave up. I didn't believe that doctor that there was nothing anyone could do for me. And I've spent a lot of years and several hundred thousands of dollars doing just about every form of therapy known to man. I've done all the conventional stuff. I've done the alternative stuff, complementary healing, you name it. You've probably heard about the first miracle I experienced, which was back in 2003. I had a surgery that left my right arm completely frozen at the elbow. 4 months later, I had my first healing session with Terry O'Connell. She did an hour of digging on me, cleared some blocks, did a healing process, and pow, my elbow instantly healed. However, the high level of chronic pain I'd been in did not heal instantly. And I did a lot more sessions with Terry and many other wonderful healers. And I kept going to doctors and therapists, but even so, it took me a lot more years and a lot of other stuff for me to get out of pain, to get back to work, to get my health together again. And so, remember, if you've studied awakening dynamics, if you know anything about the principles of higher dimensional living, you know that energy healing and mind power alone are not always enough to overcome any particular problem. And in particular, if you've done my workshop, Awakening Dynamics, Tools of Higher Dimensional Living, you probably remember me telling you this really important principle of higher dimensional living. It's this: use the tools of higher dimensional living to program your subconscious mind according to how you'd like your life to be. Then, your job is simply to be present at each moment as the universe leads you to achieve your goals. I'm going to tie this all together in a minute. You'll see where I'm going with this. I also frequently teach the following in these classes. You don't get to pick the miracles. The miracles pick you. In other words, if you learn Awakening Dynamics, if you learn the 7 tools of higher dimensional living and you use them, sometimes you will get what we call a magic wand, a miraculous instant healing, some kind of profound life change. Other times, you may not notice anything profound or dramatic immediately, but you'll manifest a process that will take you there. And that's what this series is about, the process. As an example, I got a miracle when my elbow healed instantly and permanently. But a lot of my other problems, the chronic pain I'd been in, depression, low self-esteem, social anxiety, chronic fatigue, all sorts of struggles with money, difficulties with relationships, on and on and on. None of that stuff healed instantly. But because I learned how to use some of these tools of higher dimensional living, like the subconscious block clearing, like the movement feedback holography, like the instant healing process, I was able to attract the other tools and resources and experiences that I needed. In particular, I credit a lot of my recovery to the variety of high-tech and electronic healing devices that I've used over the years. Now here's a surprise for you. You may not know this. Aside from an occasional reminder about the principles of higher dimensional living, this series only has a little bit to do directly with energy healing, mind power, or spirituality. Instead, I've created this material so I can share my experience with all these different varieties of technological healing devices that I've worked with over the years. My goals are that, one, maybe this information will help you or your clients, your family, to get out of pain, to heal the mind, to heal the body, and to hopefully do it a lot more quickly, a lot more directly, and with a lot less expense than what I went through. And looking back, I've spent at least $100,000 on a whole cornucopia of different kinds of high-tech healing devices. Most of them were a waste, some were not. We're going to talk about both. And with much of the mind power, energy healing, complementary techniques and therapies and supplements and procedures that I've tried, the large majority of these devices I've gotten provided me little or no benefit. So I'm going to cover those. I'll let you know what I didn't like, what didn't seem to work. But we'll spend most of our time talking about what did work for me, the few gems that I found. Because if it worked for me and I was a really hard case, it'll probably work really well for you, your friends, your family, your client, whoever else you're trying to help with this stuff. So be warned, the field of high technology healing devices is exploding. There's more of these kinds of gadgets available now than there were even just a few years ago. And be aware that any one of these technologies, light therapy, sound therapy, magnets, etc., you could easily write a whole book about. So we're just going to scratch the surface, just going to tell you about my direct experience, what happened with me, so that hopefully you can benefit from that. I will do my best to provide you with a basic overview of the theory of how these devices work, but first a warning. I have not found any high-tech healing device ever to be anywhere near as good as the people selling them claim they are. So, it doesn't mean that there's nothing worthwhile here. There's a lot that's worthwhile. And some of them may even be a lifesaver. At minimum, a powerful palliative. But I've never found anything that's nearly as good as the people selling a claim. So watch out for that. There's a lot of salespeople make a lot of claims. Most of them are full of hot air. And when we talk about the benefits, there's three primary kinds of benefits we'll touch on. Short-term pain relief, simple palliative treatment, genuine healing, which means it actually accelerated a long-term permanent healing process of some kind. And the third is assisted meditation, which is some of these devices you may find deepens and empowers your meditative practice, which is great on its own. So we're going to cover several kinds of my favorite kinds of devices. I'll tell you about my experiences, and I'll also tell you specifically which ones I've owned and used over a long period of time. And so, as of the time I write this, I just want you to know I do not have any affiliate or business relationships with any of the companies or products I'm going to describe here. In other words, I'm not getting paid anything. I get no compensation, no referral fee, nothing like that if I recommend their products. And so I'm just giving you this as pure information. No monetary benefit for me. There was one device on the list that is many years ago I did sell as an affiliate, but that stopped around 2009. So I have no relationship or any business partnership with any of these people. And also, this is not a scientific study. It's not medical advice, and it's not any kind of recommendation that you should try or not try different devices. This series is simply information. I want to share with you what I've learned about how these devices work, and I want to tell you what happened with me when I spent a lot of hours and a lot of money trying this stuff out, trying to find something that would help me. First, it was all for me, and then when I became a professional healer, it's really useful to know this stuff to pass it on to my clients and students. But of course, as the car commercials like to say, your mileage may vary. So that's all I have to say for our introduction today, our little warm-up to high-tech healing. I'm Brent Phillips, and I'll see you very soon with day 2 in our series. Until then, take care.